Here we go. I'm going to introduce you now to our first speaker, Camilla Collins. Camilla is an author, speaker, and entrepreneur whose work sits at the intersection of identity, confidence, and ambition. Having built multiple businesses and worked with individuals and audiences across business and creative industries, she's known for her refreshingly honest perspective and the often unspoken relationship many of us have with success. Prepare to be inspired now with Camilla's amazing talk, When Success Becomes Safety, Will It Ever Be Enough? Woo!
It was the evening of the 10th of November, 2022, and I was in the depths of the Wiltshire countryside staying in an Airbnb. I was in the middle of launching a new online program, and I thought the surrounding countryside would be the perfect antidote to all that deep, focused screen time. I'd booked to stay there for 2 nights. However, I'd now been there for 4. And I'd messaged the host again to see if I could extend my stay yet another night. And as the phone flashed up with her reply, saying that there was another guest arriving tomorrow and I'd have to leave in the morning, I had a really big realization. I didn't want to go home. Fast forward 3 months. It was Valentine's Day, to be exact, 2023, and I was back on that motorway to Wiltshire, only this time with a removal truck in tow. I had the music blaring, I'm singing away in the car, just so excited for this new chapter and this fresh start in Wiltshire. I was bordering burnout, and I just knew that the countryside was going to bring me peace and clarity and recovery. So I put my businesses on maintenance mode, and I forbid myself to push anything forward, and under no circumstances was I to launch anything new, which is something I have a habit of doing. And it was the happiest of times. It really was. It was full of rest, reflection, lots of time outside in nature. But a few months in, and this feeling of restlessness returned. But I justified it. I'd had my time off. It was time to get back to work now. And so, taking inspiration from my own recovery, I decided to launch a retreat. And I then went on to host another event, and off the back of all this, I built this whole coaching community. And it felt so aligned. It felt so right. But as momentum gathered pace, it soon started feeling like something that was dragging me along rather than something I was intentionally driving anymore. And then about 18 months later, I was on one of my trips here to London, and I had that familiar feeling again. I didn't want to go home. Only this time, of course, my home was in Wiltshire. A friend actually said to me before I moved to Wiltshire, he said, "Camilla, you do know your problems are still going to follow you there, right?" And I said, "Yes, I know, but it's going to be so much easier to deal with them out there than it is here." But the thing is, I didn't know what specific problem I was supposed to be dealing with. I didn't take time to work that out. And so nothing actually changed. All that happened was that the pattern simply paused before it played out again. And there was me thinking I'd build this whole new, wonderful life in Wiltshire. I wasn't. I was trying to escape an old feeling, a feeling I hadn't faced and I couldn't name. I thought I just needed rest, calmer surroundings. But all that did was soothe the symptom. It didn't touch the cause. I was trying to solve an internal problem externally. And here's what I now know. Many high achievers aren't just ambitious people. They are people who at some point in their lives learn that being capable, being productive, being responsible made them feel safe. And when your sense of safety is tied to achievement, your nervous system never switches off. It'll always keep pushing you to do more, to be more, to just keep going no matter what. And from the outside, this looks like ambition. And society rewards that. So not only are you wired this way internally, you're then continually being reinforced externally. When I moved to the countryside, I didn't have any time off at all. I just redirected my energy into nesting in my new home, finding mountains to climb, expeditions to go on, and before I knew it, I was back onto the next business thing. It looked like I slowed down, but I never switched off because I couldn't. There was a pattern. The more I achieved, the less it satisfied me, and then the more pressure I felt to keep going. Like the email you send when nothing really needs to be said, or the new project you suddenly decide to start just when you get a bit of space and free time in your life. The inability to just leave something alone. And this isn't just a pattern for me. It's a pattern I see every single day within the high performers I work with. Founders, creatives, athletes, people who look like they've got it all together. But privately, they're struggling. Because this doesn't just show up at work. This shows up in all other areas of life, like relationships. You know, I spent years telling myself I really wanted a relationship, but I just couldn't find the right guy. Do you want to know the truth? The truth is, I didn't know how to feel comfortable in a healthy relationship. Because a healthy relationship is calm. It's steady. It doesn't require you to constantly prove anything. And so when I found one with no drama, no uncertainty, nothing for me to fix or earn, I found it unbearable, and I walked away from it. And this is where I realized just how wired I'd become for movement, for progress, for becoming. I built an entire life around becoming, but I couldn't just be. And perhaps some of you know what that feels like. I believed I was driven. I've been told by many I'm ambitious. But honestly, it was never really a choice. I had to achieve to feel okay. And that is what I've had to rewire. Now, I don't stand here claiming to have mastered this. I am still putting in the reps every single day, teaching myself to feel safe without performing or achieving. And I do this by noticing the moments where I want to reach for the next thing, or recognizing when I'm trying to control an outcome. And instead of acting on it, I now pause. And this is how I've started to rebuild something so important to every single one of us in this room, and something I hadn't even realized I'd lost. Self-trust. This isn't about being less ambitious. This is about no longer needing to prove anything to feel okay. It's about being brave enough to just be. I want everyone to continue achieving great things, but achieve them through choice, not fear. Because when you're no longer controlled by the need to achieve, you end up achieving what you thought all that achieving was going to bring you in the first place, which is a sense of peace, a sense of stability, and the ability to be in your life without constantly having to earn your place in it. So the next time you feel that pull to move, to do, to fix, just pause and stay with it. Because nothing really needs to be done. You're just not used to this kind of stillness. And that uncomfortable feeling, it's not something you need to escape. It's something you want to embrace, because it's where the need to prove yourself ends and real confidence and self-trust begins.